Hi, welcome back to the Belly Roots kitchen. It's a busy day in the kitchen today. I've just had delivered from New Parsons Butchers a collar or a neck end of pork. Now this joint lends itself perfectly to slow cooking, so I'm going to do my own pulled pork recipe. Now the best thing about pulled pork is that it's got all the flavour inside already, so to put it in other dishes you don't really have to do anything to it at all. Now keep watching to the end. I'll show you 3 very simple recipes you can do with pulled pork. Now there's 2 stages to my pulled pork recipe. Firstly, we marinate the meat, rub it all in, and we'll be leaving that to marinate for at least 12 hours. Personally, I'm going to marinate mine for 24. So first in, we've got the cumin and the paprika, the cayenne pepper, black pepper, dried oregano, the salt and the sugar. Right, so I'm going to cover that, stick it in the fridge, and marinate it for 24 hours. Like I said, if you're in a rush, just 12 will be fine. So that's the neck end of pork marinated. Now we're going to get on with the slow cooking. We add a whole chopped red onion, 2 cloves of garlic, a tablespoon of thyme, a tablespoon of mustard, 2 tablespoons of brown sugar, 100 ml of vinegar, 200 ml of chicken stock, and 200 ml of barbecue sauce. And give it a good stir around. And we're going to cook it low and slow for 12 hours. Don't forget, anytime during this video you can subscribe to the channel just down here. So that's the pork slow cooked. Doesn't it look gorgeous? I wish you could smell this because it smells amazing. It's none of my work, it's the slow cooking. It's magic. Top tip, if you have been cooking the joint and it's not fully submerged in the liquid, for the last hour of cooking it might help for you to turn it upside down. The meat that's submerged in the juices will cook quicker than the meat on top, and it'll just even things up a little bit. So once you've done that, test the joint of meat to make sure it comes apart really easily with a couple of forks, and then carefully lift the joint out of the liquid. And you want to put that on a tray or on a plate and then start pulling it apart with a fork. You've got to do this when it's hot. You'll get much finer fibres when it's hot, and this is what you want. Once you've pulled your pork, you've separated all the fibres, then you want to add the juices back in. So I promised you some dishes that we're going to make with this pulled pork. What are we going to make with it? Well, the first thing we're going to make is a pizza. Now I make bread dough. I love making bread dough. Once you've got the hang of it, it's not that difficult, and I'd really recommend you try it. With pizzas, it's just a case of shaping your bread and then putting the toppings on and sticking it in the oven. That is it. People make it so complicated, it's really not. However, if you don't want to mess around with all that, making your own dough, you can just buy something like a ciabatta or a French stick, slice it open, then just start putting your toppings on exactly like you would a pizza. If you want a really simple pizza base, you're talking tomato puree and olive oil. 50-50 split. That's it. That's all you need. Then stick your pulled pork on top, some cheese on top of that, anything else you want. It's your pizza. Next is the pulled pork bun. I will remember this meal for a long time. Now, because the pulled pork is full of juices, it's going to make your bun soggy. So you want to spread it with some butter and toast it open side down in a pan. It will make a lot of difference. Heat your pulled pork up, grate some cheese on top of that. I put some blossom onion strings on top, but I'd recommend you taste it first because, like I said, the pulled pork's got so much flavour, it really doesn't need much help. The third dish I would recommend is pasta. Now this really is simple. All you need to do is boil up some pasta, add your heated pulled pork, some parmesan on top, job done. It will be one of the best pasta dishes you have ever had. If you make this dish and you like it, leave a comment below, tell your friends, invite your friends round. Subscribe to the channel, tell everybody about the channel, and I'll see you next week for another recipe. If you don't have a slow cooker, don't panic. Just set your oven on 100 degrees, put the joint of meat in a dish, and cover it with foil. That's it. You've got yourself a slow cooker. You don't need a specialist piece of equipment.